Hello buddy, this is Eric, and today I'm going to look at and showcase analytics for the channel, mainly focusing on the current year, but I'm also going to look at the beginning because I think it would be a mistake to talk about the channel and how it's grown without talking about the first few videos, because almost all of my videos were uploaded this year, but I uploaded a couple before. So the channel began, at least in its current form, with this video. Do not fall for this YouTube scam, will create phishing, which was a video about a cloud gaming channel hijacking scam. I made the video because, as a YouTube product expert, I'd seen a bunch of people's channels getting stolen on the forum, and I wanted to try and raise awareness so that more people wouldn't fall victim to such a scam. Now, initially the video didn't get that much traction, and then a bigger YouTuber told me that my channel, or my video, had saved their channel from getting hacked, and they shouted out my channel, which led to a gain of 35 subscribers and a lot of initial viewership on the video, which also led to more ranking in terms of search engines. And it sort of eventually fell off as that scam fell out in favor of other cloud gaming scams, which I promptly made videos on. I also made a couple of tutorial videos for how to do YouTube, because initially I was just going to use this channel as an extension of my participation in the Product Experts program. However, as time went on, I decided that I wanted to do more videos about malware and technology in general, and as we can see, I've published a few more throughout 2020, and then into this year is where things really got interesting. I uploaded the infamous or famous, depending on how you look at it, auto-clicker video, which, for whatever reason, despite, in my opinion, being one of my worst videos, is also one of my most popular. Not that it's a bad video, I just don't think it was all that good. That video initially was uploaded and got a decent spike because the channel was already growing quite a bit in subscribers at the time, and then it really started to take off and get recommended. Probably because the main video it's recommended against is a video teaching people how to install auto-clickers, and my title probably draws them in quite well. So this video got 300 subscribers. That means probably about a third of you watching this video are on the channel because of this video. That's pretty amazing. I think it's because I did a really good job on the thumbnail. I really liked this thumbnail. I knew pretty much the minute I had done that was going to be quite a successful video. And now on to the revenue, because I'm not going to put revenue in the title and then not show it. That would be mean. So the RPM, looking at it, doesn't look that much, but that's because the channel only got monetized when it hit 1,000 subscribers. So if we go in, we can see on this video, the RPM is relatively stable despite seasonality between $2 and $3 per 1,000 views, with the exception being here, where YouTube's wonderful content review team decided to demonetize most videos on my channel because I uploaded a single video that actually violated the advertiser-friendly guidelines. Just a warning here. If you upload a video, especially if you misdeclare it in self-certification, because I didn't think it was bad enough, they will go and hit a bunch of your other videos because they think maybe not very trustworthy. But we did ultimately get it back, and that video, I would say, really started the trend. And for a while I didn't upload much. It was still just something I was occasionally doing, and here we have a couple more videos. This one, I decided to experiment with title strategy, one about my personal experience with Hyper-V, and a few more. And then a few months went by and a few videos came out. And then, in the last quarter, let's go to the last 90 days, I decided I was going to take the channel more seriously and try and put out a lot more videos. And I would say that has been on most metrics a success. Viewership has jumped from a relatively stable 400 to 1,000 views a day. And I think that will continue to grow because I'm starting to see a dramatic increase in recommendations, which I'm going to show later. And it also marks a bit of a shift in content strategy, because up until around December of this year, I was purely posting malware videos, and I intend to continue posting malware videos, but I'm also going to post other videos, such as these OS spotlights and some other general news videos, like this one and the LastPass video, which came out today. Really, any other topics that are of interest. This was the Linux series, which initially did relatively poor in terms of traffic because a lot of the subscribers weren't interested in it, but in terms of recommendations and searches, it did very well. And then I did more of that, another malware video, this video, which really I uploaded purely out of interest because I was gonna run the experiment anyways. And then a couple more. And what I'm doing right now, and I'm going to do a lot more of into the new year, is going to be experimenting with titles and thumbnail strategy quite a bit, because I think that is starting to reach a point where it makes sense to shift. Because when you have a very small channel, as you can see, predominantly, still, a lot of my viewership comes from YouTube search. And in the early days of my channel, it was almost exclusively. Because I put a lot of time, if you've ever read my video descriptions, you can probably tell that it's not that I'm not very good at grammar, it's that I actually do have a strategy here, where if you can work relevant keywords into your descriptions, don't spam them, but work around it, that can significantly improve your ability to rank in search using long-tail keywords. And if I pull this up, I can see a good number of different keywords that I have gained traction from, all relatively small amounts, leading to an overall very strong performance in search. So in the new year, I'm going to look to sort of start optimizing my titles a bit differently to get more recommendations now that I have a solid base of viewership. Anyone watching this looking to start their own YouTube channel, I would strongly suggest you follow a similar strategy where if you're a small channel and you're just looking to get basic, get the ball rolling, I strongly recommend that you focus on SEO, keyword research, not so much the tag box, which in my experience really doesn't do anything. I occasionally will put tags in as an experiment, but I can say it really doesn't matter. What really matters is picking a title for your main keywords and picking a writing in your description that can include anything about your video that the algorithm might otherwise not know. Oh, sorry, I think I just hit my mic with my hand out of excitement. So now let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's look at the revenue data. Now, there's a myth that you cannot show revenue data on YouTube. That is not true. There is no policy against showing anything. I thought for a while you couldn't show this tab, but as far as I know, you can, and there's no NDA, so I'm free to show everything here. So on the ad types, nothing too surprising, although bumper ads, which are relatively new, I remember when these were added, and only exist on mobile, are quite a significant chunk of revenue. Bumpers are those non-skippable 5-second ads. Skippable video ads are the backbone, especially of smaller channels. A lot of non-skippable video ads are what they call reserved ads, which are only given to premium, so-called Google preferred channels, which is the top 5%. If you have over a few 100,000 subscribers, you'll probably see revenue from reserved advertising. But if you have a smaller channel, that's not going to be as big. Although there are some auction non-skippable ads. Then there's display ads. If you're watching on a computer, you might notice beside the video the display ads. They don't make much revenue, and I honestly question why they still exist. But there you go. Also, fun fact, from the creator point of view, you cannot disable display ads on your videos without demonetizing the videos. You can disable or enable any other format of ads. Now let's go over to some other analytics on the subject of revenue. I find this number that people often quote, because people will often say, let's just go to general channel statistics. People often say when they want to talk about YouTube and revenue, they often like to talk about CPM. CPM is generally a misunderstanding of RPM, because CPM, as far as you're a creator, is a completely useless number. It's basically how much an advertiser is paying per ad impression on my video. Ad impressions loosely correlate with views, but fill rate is actually generally more important to revenue than CPM. So the metric we actually want is here, RPM. What that is revenue per milli. Milli is Latin for 1,000, not million. Confusing. Okay. The studio is a bit buggy. I don't know why changing that sometimes changes your metric, but I find it's more useful, especially if you're a smaller channel, to look at the weekly. So here we can see a bit of a seasonality effect. So my channel applied and was accepted for monetization around June. And we can see that as the year ends, RPMs gradually rise. Now, this drop is not natural. This is due to YouTube falsely demonetizing a lot of my catalog. And here is where they accepted they were wrong and gave me back monetization. Okay, this is such... I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get how the studio manages to, just on a technical level, be such a mess. I'm going to filter this to 2021 because I didn't get monetized in previous years, so there's no useful data back there. So you can see RPM, and then we get it back. And here is where we currently are. Now I'm running a bit of an experiment because I recently learned about something called the limited ad tier. And let me pull up a video that is a part of this experiment. And basically what the limited ad tier is this theory that even a monetized video that contains some sensitive content, such as offensive language, might not monetize as well as a video that doesn't. And unfortunately, I haven't got enough data set. I'm currently experimenting with this to see if keeping so-called mature content, such as explicit language, out of the videos has a significant positive effect. What I'm more interested, though, in is, according to CeeLo, it's not just a revenue hit, because if it is, I mean, it's at most, it's a 30 or 40% hit. My RPM is already pretty good, but what it might also do is negatively affect impressions, which is something that I think is very important, because if you want to grow your channel, you need to do well on impressions. You need to be able to get recommended.
Have you rated the safety and appropriateness of videos on YouTube? While the advertiser evaluation staff are given many other documents and many other ad categories are surely evaluated, this document directly refers to safety and appropriateness for videos on YouTube, not advertiser preferences.
So I'm interested to see if, in removing some mature content from my videos, if the result will be better recommendations. I can already see somewhat of a statistically significant effect on revenue, but I would like more data points and to get out of this period of extreme seasonality. What I will say is my understanding of the seasonality of YouTube RPM is that towards the end of December after Christmas, the slight bump at Boxing Day, it falls off a cliff. I'm not so far, because that's just a rendering error, another wonderful case of coding in the YouTube studio. I'm not seeing that. So that makes me think maybe there is something to this theory. But really, we're going to have to see. And I imagine if the limited ads tier theory is right about revenue, it's probably also right about views. YouTube insist, and are probably telling the truth, that monetization status does not affect recommendations. However, it does affect suitability of video, which does affect recommendations. Confusing, I know, and I agree. So let's look at a few other smaller sources of traffic. External is an interesting one. That is essentially when videos get linked to or shared. Now, I've had a few spikes. One of them was a big creator thanking me for suggesting or for saving their channel, and the other spike was the Hello System video, which I imagine was posted on someone's Facebook to share it. A couple other sources of interest: YouTube end screens. Now, these are pretty much all my own, and these are a significantly useful feature. They don't result in a huge amount of views, but these views are completely free, and because someone who watches your end video to the end is probably likely to watch more of your content to the end, it can add a lot of watch time, as you can see here. Now the next source, other YouTube features, that's mostly miscounts. Notifications, once again, it's like on an aggregate level, it doesn't result in a lot of viewership, but in the early key moments of the video, it does. Playlists. Not much. That's fine. The main use of playlists is to help YouTube understand that videos are all related. Video cards and annotations. Now, this is one that I think is interesting, because YouTube, especially a few years ago, I mean, I even spoke with a YouTube employee that was trying to push cards. One of the things they would do when they would consult with creators is they would say, your videos don't have cards, you should add some cards to your video. I don't get it. I mean, I've seen a lot of channels' analytics. I've never in my life seen one that's significantly benefited from YouTube cards. I still add them occasionally because it doesn't take up much time. But I think that feature can be considered largely a failure. Next thing to do is drill into browse features, because there is some interesting stuff within here. So of course we have recommendations in the homepage, which recently I've seen a fair uptick on, because my cute fish and some of my other tech videos are starting to get recommended better. What I'm also seeing is the subscriptions. Now that's, as the subscriber count of my channel has grown, so has the amount of views you get from subscriptions. What's interesting is you also can see a relatively consistent, on upload days, amount of impressions, which is a reasonable percentage of the subscriber count. So about a third of my subscribers look at the subscription tab, which is, to me, a pretty good number. The subscription feed is another thing that doesn't contribute to very much viewership, but is still interesting, and it's also, in my opinion, a very good barometer of how much the audience likes or doesn't like a video, because the click-through rate here will see, did my subscribers see the video in their feed and just not find it very interesting? If that's the case, maybe that video wasn't very good if it's significantly below average. Now, there's a couple other things, I guess, just to complete the analytics video that some people might find interesting. So, views by viewer age is about what I would expect. My own demographic is by far the largest. There's a bit of a tail to older. Very few people. I wonder if that's due to mature content. I'll be interested to see how that evolves. Almost nobody who says they are under 18 watches my videos. I don't know if that's because of the content, because almost anyone is lying about their age, or what. But there we go. That's interesting. 25, 35 to 44, 45 to 54, 55 to 64, 0.1, and 65 plus. I know at least one 65 plus person who watches my videos, but given she's family, you know, I don't know like any random people of that age. Now let's do gender breakdown. My audience is overwhelmingly, let's just set this to 2021 because it's even more skewed, is overwhelmingly male. I don't know, do they still have the pyramid? Did they actually get rid of the pyramid? You know, I gotta say, like, Studio is still, in most respects, a downgrade from Classic. Because they used to show this by age, but I imagine it's relatively uniform. Almost all of my viewers are male, which is interesting. I don't know why that is, but probably it's probably a fairly male-dominated topic, and also made a fair amount of gaming videos. And then the age is, yeah, that to me seems pretty reasonable. Subscribers. That one, yeah. On the day I upload, subscribers watch almost as much as non-subscribers, which is really interesting because most people do not have that dedicated of an audience. So, thank you. And then, I guess we can do geographies as well. US obviously dominates. Philippines being second is interesting. Let's see, I don't know if that's a specific video that leads to that, or what, but that's interesting. UK, that makes sense. Second largest English-speaking country. Canada, yeah. I wonder, there's a theory that there's a home team advantage on YouTube. I'm not really seeing it. If there is, that seems pretty demographically even. Poland, Germany, India, Australia, Italy, Sweden, Malaysia, Netherlands, Turkey, Finland, Russia, Hungary. Oh wow, we got a lot of different countries. New Zealand. I find that amazing that like all these predominantly non-English countries outrank New Zealand, but I guess New Zealand's a really small country. Serbia represent, you know. I've unironically thought about moving there, so I love Serbia's cool. Austria, Croatia, UAE, another really cool country. Bosnia, Argentina, Belgium, Slovenia. That's where EK Border Blocks is based. That's another small country that a lot of people don't think about, but it's really cool. Ireland, Estonia. I'm actually surprised Ireland is so low down, because Ireland is, I think, an English-speaking country of a decent population. Estonia, Latvia, Hong Kong, Singapore, Georgia, Switzerland. Well, if it makes the few Irish viewers happy, they'll be happy to know that I am at least 6% Irish. My great-grandfather's last name is Boyle, so we have something in common. Okay, so I think that's going to be all of our look at the analytics. I'm really excited for the next year. I think the channel is going to do well in the next year, and I got a lot of content I'm very excited to be making. Thank all of you for watching, especially how a lot of these metrics show a lot of viewer dedication, which is really great to see. And the comments on my videos, I would say, are among the nicest on this website. So thank